somebody that you care about, that you really respect and admire and appreciate, is in a place where they now need support, do you look at them as being deficient or incapable or less than? Probably not. You probably still have respect for them. Matter of fact, you may even appreciate them even more for coming to you and letting you know that they needed help, right? Very often, we are honored that they even trusted us enough to come to us with that information, or trusted us enough to receive when we offered the help. And still, we deny others that same opportunity when the situation is reversed and we're the one in need of, right?
This is the Joy Act, where finding joy beyond divorce begins with your understanding that the depth of your heartache shows the depth of your capacity for joy. I'm Dr. Lisa Summerhour, and together we'll use accountability, alignment, communication, and trust to transform your journey. It's time to step into the Joy Act.
Hello and welcome to the Joy Act, because every ending is the beginning of something beautiful when you act in joy. I'm Dr. Lisa, and today I'm going to be talking about the art of receiving and finding strength in vulnerability. So let me tell you who I'm talking to today. If you are that shoulder to cry on for people in need, the person to run to when times get hard, the advisor, you are that person to a lot of people. I'm talking to you. If you are going through a breakup or a divorce right now, you may now be realizing that you are the one who needs support. You're the one who needs support, but there's something inside of you resisting it like the plague. Yeah, I see you. I see you. I used to be you. You're resisting it like the plague. It may even be so foreign to you that you don't even know how to ask for the help that you think you need, or you don't even know how to identify what it is you need. You just know something is terribly off. You really don't know who to reach out to or how to reach out, but you know doing this alone right now is not feeling right. But let's talk about how you got here. Let's talk about how you got here. And I'm having this conversation today. When things come up for me in multiples, it's a sign for me that it's something that I need to speak on. This is how I usually get very often. I have a list of topics to get me through weeks or months at a time. And very often I move them over or adjust them because something keeps coming up for me. And this is something that has come up a few times. Many of us have heard that it is better to give than to receive. It's better to give than to receive. It's rooted in scripture. And it speaks to the joy of generosity. And if you have ever really given from your heart and seen somebody who is so appreciative, it's an addictive feeling. Like, of course you want to continue to give. There is an elementary school in Arizona for, I believe this is the second year in a row, they have played Secret Santa in their community, and they took a page out of the Secret Santa. There's a gentleman here in the United States that every year gives away $10,000 and usually $100 bills. And it's just random. He walks around communities, neighborhoods, wherever. I think he travels to different states. When they do news reports on him, you never see his face, so we don't really know who he is. But he gives away $10,000. So an elementary school teacher in Arizona last winter decided to introduce this to his students as an exercise in being able to give and experiencing that joy of giving to other people. So last year, they raised $8,000. This year, they raised $10,000, and they did it without the school board help. They just did their own fundraiser, and they raised the money, and now they all wear these red TAMs, these red caps, and they go out into the community, into stores, shopping centers, wherever, and they give people money. And one of the students said the gift is in watching people receive it, like the feeling that these children are getting from gifting people is going to stay with them for the rest of their lives. And who would not want to have that feeling? Like it would be a high for any of us to be in a position to give like that regularly. Now, somewhere along the way, many of us took this, or many people interpreted this as meaning receiving is somehow less than. Like you need to be in dire straits or in need of, or somehow deficient, like it's less noble, it's not a worthy thing to be in need. Now, realistically, look, we would all rather be in a position to give than be in a position to need. So let's talk about first, why is receiving so difficult? One of the things that I think happens is there's an embarrassment factor that's often attached to being in need of, being on the receiving end, especially for those people who have built up an identity of being the one to go to of being that go-to person. So one thing is the embarrassment. It's interesting how happily we can celebrate giving to somebody else and being in a position to give. But when we're on the receiving end, there is shame attached to that. We feel ashamed that we need to go to somebody and ask for help, or just to receive it if they recognize that we need it. Sometimes there's shame attached to that. Okay, think about this for a moment. When somebody that you care about, that you really respect and admire and appreciate, is in a place where they now need support, do you look at them as being deficient or incapable or less than? Probably not. You probably still have respect for them. Matter of fact, you may even appreciate them even more for coming to you and letting you know that they needed help, right? Very often we are honored that they even trusted us enough to come to us with that information, or trusted us enough to receive when we offered the help.
You've built a successful career, checked all the right boxes, but after divorce, why does it feel like everything is falling apart? Searching for answers online at 2 a.m., it will not bring you peace. Neither will pretending you're fine when inside you're anything but.
I remember those feelings, the exhaustion, the anxiety, and the frustration from feeling stuck. It seemed like no matter what I did, I could not figure out a way to move past the pain. If you are dealing with a divorce while you're also managing your career, I've been there. Things didn't get better for me until I stopped waiting for time to heal me and I took control of my own healing. And that's how this came about. That's why I designed the 4 essential steps to creating joy after a difficult divorce. It's a masterclass for accomplished women just like you who are ready to move forward.
It's time to break the cycle. Imagine waking up feeling lighter, knowing exactly what to do next, and rediscovering your joy, not just surviving, but thriving. In this masterclass, you'll learn the biggest mistakes that keep you stuck in divorce pain, why traditional recovery methods don't always work for high-achieving women, and the 4 essential steps to rebuilding your confidence and joy. Give yourself permission to stop reliving the past and start designing the future you deserve. Register today.
And still, we deny others that same opportunity when the situation is reversed and we're the one in need of, right? Anyone who has always been that person, acknowledging that you need help can almost feel like a betrayal to your role in life, to your identity, that you now are on the other side of this give-receive. It's like you're breaking some unspoken contract that you made with the world. It says, I'm the strong one. I am the provider. I am the supporter. I am the giver of all good stuff to other people. I am not supposed to be on the receiving end. And just think about it. If everybody felt like that, we rob a whole lot of people of this experience of being the giver. If we are never in a position to receive, to ask for, or to receive when something is offered. And I would ask you to dig a little deeper and find out, where is that coming from for you if you're hearing this right now, especially if you are in the middle of a breakup or divorce, or you see one coming. If you're on the front end and you know this breakup or divorce is coming, you're in a great position right now, because you can take this information and get your mind prepared to be able to ask for some of the things that you need. The truth is, strength is not just about giving help. There's also strength in being able to receive help, and even a greater strength in being able to ask for the help. So this is where we get into the vulnerability conversation, because we avoid that sometimes. We avoid being on the receiving end, and we avoid being vulnerable or being perceived as being vulnerable, even though it's a moment. It's not, I mean, you have vulnerability in you all the time, but you may avoid tapping into it every single time it pops up. Because receiving puts us in a position where we have to acknowledge that we have needs that we're not able to meet on our own. Receiving, being vulnerable, puts us in a position where we have to acknowledge what feels like I don't have my ish all together, right? And I should have all my stuff together and I shouldn't need any help. I should have been able to handle this and hold it down and blah, 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 blah. I get it. I have been there. I have been on that path. It is not a feel-good experience, but I will tell you this, when you finally are able to ask certain people for the things that you need, because it's not for everybody. You can't go to any and everybody. When you're able to do that and you realize you have those people in your life, that is when you realize this is a team effort. This life thing is a group activity, right? And having people who love you enough and care about you enough to be there to support you when you're in time of need is a beautiful thing. And it's a joyful experience when it happens. And you will be amazed at the pressure or the weight that is lifted off of you, that you have been burdening yourself and worrying yourself about things that you couldn't handle by yourself, when you realize, I didn't even need to handle this by myself. There were other people here who were willing to support me and to help me. So one of the other reasons vulnerability could be really difficult in this particular moment, if you're going through that breakup or a divorce, is being vulnerable in this stage requires you to trust other people. And it's requiring you to trust other people at a time in your life where you may have just had a relationship end because of trust issues. There may have been serious breaches of your trust that caused this relationship to come to an end. And now the relationship ending has put you in position where you got to trust somebody outside of yourself. And you're like, no, that's not going to happen right now. Matter of fact, I think I'm the only person I can trust. This is what's really important for you to understand. When we are going through something like a breakup or a divorce, especially if it's a difficult breakup, a difficult divorce, if it involved a toxic relationship, not being able to receive can actually harm you. Let me say that again. Your inability to be able to receive at a time when you really do need the help can do more harm for you than you realize. It can be harmful. Let me explain it to you like this. You're going through this breakup, you're going through this divorce, you're dealing with an emotional tsunami, basically, that is draining you. You are emotionally drained, you're probably physically exhausted, mentally, it could be draining you on multiple levels in different areas of your life. Your finances might be stressed, so everywhere you look, things are a little off kilter because of what you're going through, and that is 100% normal. That there's nothing unusual about that. Obviously, everybody will deal with their situation differently, and a lot of people will say, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, and they're not fine. They're trying to maintain who they were before all of this happened, which means you're not really acknowledging what this is doing to you. But when I talk about this being a strain on you and this doing more harm, it's because you're still trying to do everything that you were doing before. Be the best parent and the best friend and the perfect employee and all of those things that you were doing, and your battery is not getting recharged. And you're going through something that it's possible you have never experienced anything like this before in your life. So you don't even know how to safeguard yourself. You don't know how to shore up your own support system. You don't really even know what you need right now, because you actually need other people to help you through this. And because you're not going to them for support, or maybe not even allowing them to see that you need help, your energy, the level of fatigue that you're experiencing is excruciating. So you could be doing more harm by not acknowledging that you need support right now. Like, it's okay for you to need some help right now. It's okay for you to receive right now. You cannot continue to give to the same degree, at the same level, with the same consistency in every single area of your life when you have something like this happening to you that is depleting you of your own resources. Does that make sense? I hope so. Meanwhile, you're actually missing out on the thing that you need the most right now. You need the support of other people. You need information. Matter of fact, some of the things that you need are resources that you literally don't have. They are not in your wheelhouse. They are not of your skill set. All of the things that other people were coming to you for help on, those were things that you know about. Those are things that were in your wheelhouse. You have now stepped into unknown territory, and you're going to need a different kind of support, very likely from some different people. And I talk about the whole support team or vision network. I talk about that in my book and in my program, because for a lot of people, this is going to be the first time you've needed to curate an actual support team for yourself. And what you've been doing, because you're trying to stay strong and you're trying to still be that person and you're trying to hold it together, and it's like, I'm good, I got this. What you're actually doing by not being able to receive and by turning down invitations for support is you are unintentionally pushing people away.
Thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying this episode. I wanted to take just a minute and share something with you. There is one question that I get asked more often than any other question, and that's, how do you navigate the difficult journey of a divorce? And that's exactly why I wrote Divorce is Not a Destination. So if you're a woman who is going through a divorce right now, you've been through one recently, or you think divorce might be on the horizon, I wrote Divorce is Not a Destination specifically with you in mind. I wanted to give you practical tools on learning how to communicate better with yourself, with your children if you have any, and even with your ex as you're going through this process. I also wanted to share with you the importance of having a support team and identifying who the right people are for you to build and nurture the support team that's going to best serve you. And finally, I wanted to introduce you to or explain to you the loss cycle. And those are the emotional stages that we go through when we're going through a divorce. I wanted you to be able to put a name to what it is that you're feeling and know that everything that you're experiencing is perfectly normal for what's happening to you right now. So if you are ready to start your healing journey, get a copy of Divorce is Not a Destination. You can order one at my website, divorceisnotadestination.com, or go to Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, or check with your local bookstore. Now, let's get back to this episode.
You're pushing people away that care about you. You're pushing people away that want to support you. You're pushing people away that you have probably supported in the past. How about that? So this is an opportunity for them to reciprocate that support that you've shown them, and you're pushing them away. And I want you to take a moment and think about what that would feel like for them, for somebody who has loved you and cared about you enough to come lay their problems at your feet and to receive your support and your help. I want you to think about what it might feel like for them when the roles are reversed and you're like, no, I'm good, I got this, I don't need nobody. You needed somebody when you were going through, but girl, I'm good, I don't need nobody. I want you to think about what that feels like. And it's not even honest. It's not honest. It's you not dealing with something. It's you not wanting to be vulnerable. It's pushing away what makes us human, right? That we do need each other. I read something when I was working on this. It talked about even the strongest trees, even the greatest trees in the forest, their root systems are connected. They are supporting and nourishing each other underground through their root systems. And everything that happens with us doesn't have to be broadcast all over the place, but I want you to ask yourself, do you have a good root system? Where is the support coming from that's keeping you anchored? Who are those individuals? And are you taking advantage of them when the opportunity presents itself? Are you giving them an opportunity to be a giver so they can experience that joy of being able to help somebody that they care about and love at all? So the good news to this, like I said earlier, is that receiving is a skill. It's something that you can practice. So first you have to recognize, okay, so here, how about this for a twist? Receiving could be looked at as another act of giving, a different way of giving. When you make the decision to receive, you gift another person with the opportunity to give. So if you need to think of it that way, It's a new take on that. The second thing is to start small. Start with something small. Maybe it's just going to be accepting somebody's offer to cook you dinner. Now, if you're going through a divorce, especially if you have a couple of kids, and somebody offers to bring you dinner, yes, please. Yes, please, and thank you. But even if you're single and you haven't gotten out of bed for 2 days, or you didn't like cooking in the first place. Now, it might seem big to you because receiving help of any kind for you is going to seem probably bigger than it might really be to the other person. But if they've made the offer, that's something small that you can say yes to. If you have kids, maybe it's somebody who's volunteering to watch the kids for a weekend or just an afternoon. How would it feel for you to have 3 hours at home by yourself alone? What would it feel like to be able to take a bath and nobody's banging on the bathroom door while you're doing it? Or maybe you need to have a meeting with your attorney over the phone and it's going to give you some time to have quiet in the house so you don't have to worry about the kids. And even if they are agreeing to come and babysit in your home and take them to another part of the house or another room so that you have that kind of quiet time, that's another small way that you can receive support from somebody else. So first you need to acknowledge that, yeah, you can give somebody the gift of giving by receiving. Second, you can start small. And the third thing, asking for what you need. Now, first, you got to be able to identify that, right? And I want to tell you a story. I've had 2 situations in the last week. One, I actually heard a college student asking a family member, can I stay with you this semester? And it was so beautiful to hear this young woman. I was so impressed and so touched by it that if I had lived close enough to her school, I honest to goodness would have come home and asked my mom, can she stay with us next semester? The other person was actually online on one of the networking groups that I belong to. And this young lady posted that several months ago, she lost her job. And it's taken a very, very long time for her to get another job offer, to the point where she's at risk of being evicted from her place. And she was like, I would not normally do this, but I literally have no place else to turn for help. Any support anybody can give me would so appreciate it. She had landed a new job, but it wasn't going to get her paid soon enough or be enough to keep from being evicted because of back pay and all that. So 2 young women who were able to ask for what it is that they needed. And it could have been, oh, I'm too embarrassed. I'm too uncomfortable. I'm ashamed. I should be able to deal with this on my own. They could have shitted themselves to death and not done this, but you already don't have the thing that you need by not asking. If you ask, you at least position yourself to be able to get the help that you need. Before I got on here today, I looked up, I remembered her as Marsha, the dream coach. And her last name, I believe, is pronounced Weider, Wieder. And the reason I remembered her in this moment is because she told a story of transitioning from another career. She really wanted to be a writer and a coach and a speaker. And she was on a plane, and the person next to her, they started talking. And they asked her, what did she do? And she went through all that. And at some point during the conversation, she said, I wish I could go away. She said, I just wish I could go away somewhere and just have time to write. Like someplace near the water. And she painted this picture. I don't think she said an actual location, but she painted this picture for this person. And the person ended up saying to her, I have a place in Greece that is empty right now. And if you would like to go there, I would be more than willing to let you go and stay there so you can write. Who does that? But this is what can happen when you learn to ask for what you want. You learn to share what it is that you want with other people, to give people the indication that there's a need that you have, because only when people understand that you have a need can they determine if they have the ability to fulfill that need for you. And so if we're always so convinced that we got it, we don't need help, we can do this on our own, or, well, if I ask, I'm going to look weak, I'm going to look like I don't have my stuff together. At this point in my life, I should, woulda, shoulda, coulda, right? If you do all of that, you will never get the words out of your mouth to share with somebody, you know what I would really like, or you know what I really need right now. And so that third thing is starting with the people that you trust. Obviously, I'm not telling you to sit next to a stranger on a plane and give them your whole divorce story and see if they can jump in and help you. But again, who knows? I've had stranger things happen to me on planes. But I am saying you probably have some people in your inner circle who don't know the pain that you're in right now, because what you need might just be an ear on the phone. What you need right now might be somebody who can listen without being a critic, without being critical of you or your situation. You just need a heartfelt listener, a listener who cares. And to be able to say to somebody when they say, "How are you doing?" to say, "I'm not doing good right now. Like, this is probably one of the worst experiences I've ever had in my life. I wouldn't wish this on anyone." And I sometimes I just need somebody to talk to at 11:30 at night. And they may say, "Well, you know what? Call me. Call me. I can take 15 minutes, 30 minutes or whatever to talk. Or how about let's set up a time for you to just talk and I'll be there to listen. Tell me what you need. Do you want advice?" Maybe you get to the point where you realize I do need a support team, and you learn who are the people that need to be part of my support team so you can handpick them. I think it's just important for us to all remember, but especially in a time like this, if you're listening and this is speaking to you because you are going into or in the middle of a divorce or a breakup, is to remember that we are not here to go through every difficult situation alone. Like there's really no reason for that to be part of your reality. If you have created that for yourself, you have the power to create something different. Maybe we need to learn from those trees. And like I said before, connect our roots to somebody else's so we can have some stability and some comfort and that those supportive companions that we need in our lives when we're going through something really difficult. There will come a day again when you're able to give, and you may have things to give even now. But if you're forcing yourself to continue giving to the degree and at the same level that you had been, even after going through all of this difficult period in your life, you may be doing yourself a disservice. It's okay to pull back a little. It's okay to give a little less. And knowing that you're in a place in your life right now that you have never been before, that you didn't expect to be, that you weren't prepared for, it's okay to say, "I need help." Could you imagine? This image just jumped into my head. Could you imagine being out on at the water and being on a pier and just running and jumping off the end of the pier, and you hit the water and remember, "I don't know how to swim," and you go, "Oh, but I don't want to bother anybody by asking for help. I don't want to be all loud screaming, and I'll try to figure it out." No, no. And so don't allow yourself to drown in the emotional discord of a divorce. Don't allow yourself to drown in that, because the deeper you sink into that emotional pit, the more difficult it's going to be for you to get out. So as I wrap it up today, I want you to consider this. What are the challenges that you're facing right now? And it's okay, get a pen and a piece of paper and write them down. What is challenging you in this moment? What are you most concerned about? Or you might be thinking, "I'm afraid," if you're using that language. What is causing you anxiety as you're going through this or you're in the middle of this? What is the thing that wakes you up at 1:11 in the morning? And I picked 1:11 because I remember going through one of my divorces and I would wake up at 1:11 in the morning or 11:11 at night. It was just weird. So what is the thing that at 1 in the morning, it's waking you up or it's keeping you up? What is that thing? And write it down and figure out, okay, what do I need to address that? That would be where you could go from there. You know what the great thing is about this? You get to learn a new way of being. You still get to come out of this and have the ability to give whatever that is that you are gifted to give. And you can also come through this and understand that you also have the ability to be able to receive now. You can do both. It's not an either or. It's not because I'm a giver, I can't receive. You can be a giver who now also knows how to receive. And look at the flow that happens there. Ooh, what? Balance, equilibrium, whatever you call it. I like calling it flow. This is more than your opportunity to always be the strong person. This is your opportunity to experience being a whole person. because as whole people, we give and receive when we're at our best. It's not just one. We're not always on the take. That's not healthy. But it's also not healthy to always just only be giving and not make space for receiving. And trust me, it's going to be uncomfortable, probably the first few times you do it. It's going to feel awkward. And that's a sign that you're out of practice. And you have to be able to receive as good as you give. You know, they say you got to be able to, you got to be able to get as good as you give. That applies here too. You want to be able to receive with the same grace and ease that you're able to give. It's okay to say thank you. I appreciate you for that. Or I embrace that. Or I receive that. You get to practice all of these things. So I just want to thank you for being with me through this episode. I hope this has blessed you. Write in the comments if actually receiving is going to be something new for you. And if this has just put a little crack in the doorway for you to start seeing yourself in another light, not just as a giver, but a giver and a receiver. I want you to remember that joy is within your reach, and every ending is the beginning of something beautiful. So go act in joy.